Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys star breaks silence on heated confrontation with reporter. Following the Dallas Cowboys' loss to the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday, October 27, emotions were high, and Cowboys cornerback Trevon Diggs ended up getting into a confrontation with a reporter after the game. During the game, 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy threw to tight end George Kittle for a short completion, and Kittle clocked a 46-yard gain on the play to the 2-yard line. At the end of the play, Diggs attempted to push Kittle out of bounds, to no avail. A clip of the play was posted on X by Underdog NFL, and in a quote share over the replay, sports anchor Mike Leslie of WFAA wrote, "What is Trevon Diggs doing on this play?" That provoked Diggs to actually leave the locker room and confront Leslie after the game. Now, Diggs is doubling down on his talk with Leslie and says he has no regrets. On Monday, October 28, Diggs appeared on The Edge with Micah Parsons' podcast and talked about the incident. He opened up about why he felt he wanted to confront Leslie and why he stands by his actions. "I just felt like it was unnecessary," Diggs said on the show. "I just felt like he was trying to use my name for clicks. After the game, I just happened to see it. I clicked on it and seen who it was, and I was like, oh, he's right here. So I went up to him and I just spoke how I felt." He added, "I just kind of let my emotions get the best of me. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't make it right for anybody to be saying anything or just trying to throw dirt on your name and make it seem like you're doing a bad job because I felt like I played my hardest game." Diggs is expected to help lead the Dallas Cowboys defense, so his actions can take on a greater role and be under more scrutiny. He's on a 5-year, $97 million contract with Dallas. Diggs' response was a bit surprising, since it's not uncommon for sports journalists to make critical comments about players on social media, but it must have dug at him, pun intended, and you can't blame him for wanting to stand up for himself. As for the initial incident, when Diggs left the locker room to go into the tunnel, he walked up to Leslie and said, "Out of that whole play, that is all you took from that? You don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing me, bro." Leslie responded by saying, "Just asking the question, Trevon." "I am happy to have you answer the question," Diggs added, "out of the whole play, that is what you took from that? That's what you got from that? From that whole play, that's what you got from that?" Leslie responded, appearing to try to egg Diggs on, saying, "I am asking. We can talk about it more, what were you doing then?" Diggs responded, "Talk about D's, expletive. Blame Cowboys' woes on Lance trade. Let's step away from that game in San Francisco that looked, to Cowboys fans, a bit too much like every other game with San Francisco in recent years, and see the bigger picture. Dallas was 12-5 each of the last 3 seasons. And all this squad has to do to extend that streak is go, checks notes, 9-1 in their next 10 games. Maybe the big picture wasn't such a great approach." The weekly injury report details the reasons the Cowboys' defense is one of the league's worst. Fortunately for all of us, Micah Parsons is delivering a Pro Bowl podcast season, so not all is lost over there. It's the offense that is the reason the Cowboys find themselves closer to the Giants in the NFC East than the Eagles or Commanders. Having Brandon Cooks on IR is no reason for a unit to collapse. And what kind of thin ice are you treading when Rico Dowdle calling in sick is cause for despair? How did we get here? For me, it all goes back to the Trey Lance trade, a move that made no sense at the time it happened in 2023 and will ultimately net the Cowboys nothing but the loss of a 4th-round pick. That is, unless you're so dissatisfied with Dak's play that you're ready to leapfrog Cooper Rush on the depth chart and take a gamble on Lance. When we last saw him, Lance was throwing 5 interceptions in the preseason finale against the Los Angeles Chargers. Or maybe you'd like to keep Lance next year when his cap hit is $22 million? the Lance trade cost Dallas a running back this season. Maybe it cost the Cowboys a running game, period. The fourth round is when they all started going off the board last spring. Bucky Irving to Tampa Bay, Ray Davis to Buffalo and, yes, Isaac Guerendo, the 49ers third stringer who cruised through the Dallas defense for 85 yards and the Cowboys could only sit and watch. Yes, there were other opportunities later in the draft. Giants fifth-rounder Tyrone Tracy ran for 145 yards against Pittsburgh on Monday night. Maybe the Cowboys could have used a Guerendo or a Tracy? But Jerry Jones could only talk of his excitement at Zeke's return before and after the draft. It's sad enough that Elliott's 11-yard run Sunday night was such cause for excitement. Who knew he could still do even that? The Cowboys' offense still has Dak and CD and its tight end collection, and the starting offensive line Sunday night was the starting offensive line at the season's outset. This is a team that ranked first, fourth and first in scoring the last 3 seasons. Now, the Cowboys are 22nd. It's a team that ranked 9th and 14th in rushing yards the last 3 years. Now the Cowboys are 32nd. You cannot tank the running game unless you have such a dynamic passing attack that 300 yards is a given each and every Sunday. The Cowboys do not have that. 3 Cowboys who could end up in trade rumors. The trade market could be hot this year, as Cowboy fans have seen a few teams improve while the Cowboys wallow in mediocrity. Rumors will fly around like mosquitoes on a warm summer night, but will the Cowboys get involved? Over the last several seasons, the Cowboys have not made any big trades, and if the team ever needed a big move, this is the year. Will the front office make a move? The need is undeniable, but the nature of the move remains shrouded in uncertainty. It could be a surprise that defies expectations. The fans want to bring in a superstar player or any player that can help win games. That may not be the case for this year's Dallas Cowboys team. This team is more than 1 or 2 moves away from being a legitimate threat in the playoffs. Hopefully, I am wrong, and the injured players can come back and breathe new life into the team. It just doesn't seem as though that will help. With the many needs at several positions, the Cowboys could and should become sellers to get extra draft capital. Who could those players be to get sent packing for draft picks? As terrible as this defense is this year and as terrible as the defensive line has been, one player could get some pretty good draft capital. Osa Odigizua is 26 years old and a good young player. Several contenders around the league could use help up front, and adding a defensive lineman who can get after the quarterback could give a jolt to an already good defense. The Cowboys are not that good on defense, so having a player like Odigizua does not raise the needle for this team, but getting a draft pick or 2 for him could help fill other positions. The best years of Odigizua's career were with Dan Quinn. A trade between rivals does not happen often, but could the Cowboys squeeze some picks out of them for a familiar face for Coach Quinn? It could be a possibility, but a trade outside the NFC East is more likely. The Steelers, who have the best defense in the league, could look to add some reinforcements to reinforce the defensive line. Putting a player like Odigizua behind Cam Hayward could help keep Hayward fresh and bring some youth in who could learn from a Steelers legend. A 3rd and 5th round pick would be a fair asking price. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Trey Lance? Leave your opinion in the comments.